All right, here's my advice for the devout Republican activists in Iowa. I know some of them personally. There are some really good people in the process out there. It's going to be painful for you to do this, and it might be too late for this year, but here's what you need to do. Change the rules. Make it a little bit more appealing, all right? George W. Bush the Younger won the straw poll, and it gave him the momentum he needed because he spent a fortune to bring people in, to bus people in. So on election day, if you pay somebody to go, if you pay their way, right? I mean, want me to do the math for you? It's a criminal act. It's tantamount to bribery. I mean, certain states allow there to be donuts and coffee at polling booths. Some places don't allow anything, if my memory is correct. So you get my point. Make it so that they have to be registered Republicans. Make it so that they have to be residents of the state of Iowa, the true party machinery. And for those of you who don't know what this is all about, a lot of the people who come to this, it's almost a third of the people who actually vote. If you get 20,000 people out at the Iowa straw poll, that's about a third who are going to participate, or maybe a fourth of who will participate in the actual caucus in February. Now remember, I know that this is confusing for people who don't live in Iowa. The Iowa straw poll happens in August of this year. It's a beauty pageant. It has no legal binding impact. The Iowa caucus is the first election in the nation for the Republican primary, usually followed a week later by the New Hampshire primary. So Iowa plays a key role, all right? So friends in Iowa, you're going to have to change the rule, or you're going to become a part of the past. And remember, a lot of things serve a useful purpose and then they're no longer useful. The way you can make this useful is make it so that guys come, they give speeches, they glad hand, and then we see who gets the date, okay? Which leads me to the word that I used before. Retail. Retail politics, it's called. Well, Randall, what are you selling? Well, if I'm running for president, I'm selling myself, okay? These guys are, and gals, for the times that they're women, they generally spend enormous amounts of time raising money, which means they spend enormous amounts of time with wealthy people, hobnobbing, jumping from rich house to rich event, asking for the $1,000, $2,000 checks, and whatever the legal limit is at that time, $2,300, $2,400. They're asking people to see if their kids, wink, wink, will donate to the campaign. But then they're also asking to give to their PACs. Cut a $50,000 or $100,000 or $250,000 or $1 million check to the PAC. And then these PACs go and they pummel the adversary, all right? It's become very corrupt. It really has. So if these candidates could have it their way, do you really think that they would be shaking hands of people who are just a little off? I mean, the people who are, if for those of you who have not been to these really intense political places, I've been to many of them, and some people would regard me as a little off, all right? Because I'm so dedicated to babies not being murdered. I'm so dedicated to marriage being between one man and one woman. I'm dedicated to the concept that Islam is a threat to human rights and human freedom. And I talk about those things. And then you get the Second Amendment people. And you get people who are wearing t-shirts that say you can have my gun when you pry it off my cold dead fingers. And it's a t-shirt. And they're showing up at a political event in a t-shirt. And maybe they didn't comb their hair or brush their teeth that morning. I mean, it just, the people that come out to these things, it's such a cross-section of America. It's not the wealthy. It's not the elite. And if they are there, if the wealthy and the elite are there, they're wearing their polo shirt and they're doing everything they can to not stick out. But they stick out because their shoes are so perfect and their clothing is so perfectly pressed and their hair is perfect and their jewelry stands out. So the elite are not a part of the common man scenario, sense, vibe that you get at these events. And so it forces these politicians to do retail politics. Shake people's hands. Take questions. Take good questions. Take silly questions. let somebody rant and rave for 60 or 90 seconds. That's what happens when they have to retail politics, and many of them hate it. So I think it's of great value. I think retail politics is of great value because you get to see what the candidates are really made of. You get to see if they can talk to people, if they're affable, if they're people persons, if they are able to handle good questions, hard questions, silly questions, if they're arrogant, if they're short-tempered. Bob Dole would snap. Oh my goodness, they would catch him on camera. He was so impatient with people. Remember President Dole? All right, anyway, I'll finish with this, okay? Those of us who are conservative, Christians, pro-life, pro-marriage, pro-freedom, pro-Second Amendment around the country, even though most of us don't live in Iowa, I've never participated in an Iowa caucus or straw poll, okay? We need Iowa to stay at the front of the pack. Because if they don't get to stay at the front of the pack, it's going to be New York. It's going to be the elite of Fairfax, Virginia. It's going to be Los Angeles. It's going to be Chicago. These people are going to run the show. They're going to determine who the next Republican nominee is. And the things that we value are going to be cast under the bus faster than you can say grand old party. Okay? So we have a debt to these people, and we need to encourage Iowa's position to continue. And Iowa friends, as I said before, if you want to keep this straw poll alive and well, change the rules. I'll be right back. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today.